If I could move to the next question. Jazakallah for your question there, Rabia, and I hope in the answers certainly you asked for examples, and I'm sure plenty of examples are provided. But again, Rabia and others, if you do have questions you want to raise on some of the responses you've heard in the program so far, please do remember the email address once again is faithmatters@mta.tv. That's faithmatters, one word, @mta.tv. And the fax number for those of you using the fax machine is 44 for the UK, 208 687 8037. That's 44 for the UK, 208 687 8037. Moving forward to our next question, Jahangir Sahib, this in part we've answered already, because it comes from, you mentioned French speakers just now, and it actually comes from someone who's already listened to some of the answers we gave on the whole issue of natural disasters and the phenomena which encapsulate natural disasters. Why do they happen? Why do innocent children, innocent people get caught up in that? And what is the basis for that? I know in a previous program we have answered this, but the plea from the questioner is, can you answer it in very simple, straightforward terms? Jahangir Sahib. And because he's French, I come to you.
Well, I'll just say one word to him in French, that Monsieur Koulibaly Mohamed Abdelaziz, Inch'Allah, nous allons traduire ces programmes en français, et là, vous n'aurez plus de problème de compréhension, Inch'Allah.
Inshallah.
But in a word, I mean, the question being that why are innocent people victims of disasters?
Indeed.
For example, babies, etc. This hides another question, which is, isn't that unjust? Where's the sense of justice of God if a very young child who's apparently not even lived his life at all is taken away in such a tragic way, for example, in a natural disaster or in an accident? Well, first of all, we have to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God Almighty, is the most just one. He is justice in person. And He will not deal unjustly with anybody after their death. Everything will be taken into account. If somebody has lived less of a life compared to somebody else, obviously Allah will deal with that person accordingly. So there will be no injustice involved. Everybody will be treated according to his own or her own circumstances. But to ask why children or innocent people are victims of such things, we could ask another question to answer that, and this would be, what would you prefer to have happened? Would you prefer that every time there's going to be an accident, miraculously, people are snatched out of cars and brought to safety where the car goes and crashes? When somebody is falling off a cliff, that miraculously a hand should come out of the heavens and prevent them from falling? This is not what happens in the world. There are sets of natural laws which God has put into operation in this world, and we are, of course, living within the sphere of action of these laws. If, for example, as Brother Abul Sahib Khan, as he said in a previous program, if I drink poison, then I'll die. This is the natural consequence. So we can't expect that God is going to intervene every single time mistakes happen. Or if there is some natural event happening, is He going to intervene? Of course, He does intervene very often, and I can even say that He saves people usually, because otherwise people will be dying like flies everywhere. God is actually preventing it from happening on a daily basis. It's only sometimes these things happen, but they're natural laws. If, for example, as Hazrat Khalifa Rabi had said once, rahimahullah, he said, if a father is driving his car and he's got all his family in with him, his wife, his children, and suddenly he decides to drive over a cliff, they will all die. It was the father's decision, and the family were caught up in that. So they have to die. This is a natural consequence. But God will judge every single one of them according to their circumstances. Nobody will be treated unjustly. So these things do happen. This is the kind of world we live in. There are causes, consequences to every, to every event. And so some lives are lost, obviously. Some people are maimed, some people are blinded. This happens. But God will deal with everyone according to his or her set of circumstances.
I would
Yes,
like
Abul
to
Sir.
take a minute over there. This question is related to the subject of taqdeer, destiny.